Welcome to Compas on the Beat. I am Fernando Ramirez, Chargers beat reporter for Sports Illustrated. With me, as always, is my co-host, my tag team partner, Gilbert Montano, OC Register, LA Daily News, live from Radio Row. What's up, bro?
Whoa, Fernando, I think I heard an echo in here in this LA Convention Center. We're in downtown Los Angeles. The Compas have made it. We're here, Super Bowl, Radio Row. I'm kind of surprised because, I don't know, Fernando, less than a year ago, we were just starting this little old podcast. We're doing Q&As on YouTube, and now we're here at the Super Bowl. It's kind of cool, no?
You know, it's funny. I just thought about that too when Dan and Dago and I were driving up here. I think on Sunday, I was thinking, I'm like, wow, like in less than a year, like we really did all this. We put this all together and we're at Radio freaking Row. Like this is nuts. Today we had Monday, first day. We had some great guests on. Like it was just a lot of fun. And usually the first day is a slow day, but we have some cool guests jumping on with us. But man, it's surreal to know that the Compas are here, and that we're literally thriving at both of our jobs. I mean, obviously we have to write, but on top of that, we have to do what we have to do on the podcast. And this is awesome, man. I am literally not taking this for granted at all.
Yeah, no, the Compas here are rubbing elbows with NFL Network, ESPN, Fox, a bunch of big time radio shows that I know and podcasts that I follow. So it's pretty cool. You see the banners of all the Super Bowls out here, all 56. I see my favorite one right here next to me, the Pasadena Super Bowl. There's a San Diego Super Bowl here too, Fernando. So we're representing not many Mexicans, but we're out here. So that's a good sign, Fernando. But how about we start off with a little story before you present your guests? Because you got a couple good guests for today, Monday. We're trying to do all these podcasts every single day from a Radio Row. But you were walking down the street and you keep screaming, "Coach, Coach, Coach!" I'm like, who's here? Is Brandon Staley out here? Who are you calling Coach? And then sure enough, it was Jonathan Coachman, who was well known from the WWE world. And you talked to him, you got him on, man. So props to you.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny because I've watched the coach for years when it was WWE. And Gilbert, and this is what the coach and I kind of spoke about. It is incredible that he was one of the first people to jump over from WWE to ESPN. That's never been done. That was rarely ever done. Now you see it a little bit more common with like Charlie Arnold, who's there now, and Todd Grisham, who was there for a little bit. But you never saw that, and he really was the first one that jumped over. But yeah, he told me too. The only reason why I jumped on with you is because you shot your shot. I appreciated that, and that was awesome. So, hey, it just teaches you shoot your shot and see what comes out of it. So it's awesome to have the coach on. And I just started talking to him for a little bit. I followed him on Twitter and I've asked him questions before and stuff. So we actually do get into a little bit of WWE, which the coach obviously he doesn't really touch on that, but he touched on it with me. So that was pretty awesome. I know, Gilbert, you had to go take care of your stories that you have coming out. By the way, guys, check out the OC Register this week. Gilbert is going to have a lot of stuff for you guys this week, and he's working hard. He's trying to balance Compas and he's trying to balance writing. Gilbert, how's that going so far on day one?
Yeah, so I had to leave you for a little bit because I'm working on a Joe Burrow story. Like he is the star of the Super Bowl, and he's not even out here, which is crazy because it's a virtual Super Bowl. We're still in that weird kind of COVID phase. So I think Joe Burrow touchdown to LA Tuesday, and then we'll talk to him in person on Friday. So I kind of was doing a story about that unique experience where, like, he is the star of the show, but he won't be here for a couple more days. Then I'm doing a daily blog. I'm kind of maybe regretting my decision because Mondays are kind of slow, so I got to figure out something to write about. But you know what? I think I might take a bunch of the stuff we did today because, like, you spoke to Jonathan Coachman. I guess I'll do the plug for the lineup today. Chef KK, who I thought was a very interesting guest. She was the first one. She came by because she saw that we're reporters for the Chargers, and she cooks for Melvin Ingram. So she gave us the story on Melvin Ingram, not just Melvin Ingram, Von Miller, Drake, Diddy, Demi Lovato. So she's going to be an interesting guest for you guys to listen. And then, Fernando, you booked that Amber Theoharis. And that one was very fun, too. I was part of that one. But I went to the media center to write my story, and it kind of worked out because it's kind of a circus down here, so to kind of be spread apart was cool. I'm kind of just disappointed I didn't get to meet her because she was a very cool person to talk to, and uh, she really broke down the Super Bowl. So that's another one, and obviously can't forget the last one because he's going to be listening. Beto Duran, our good friend of the show. Beto's been hanging out with us here at Radio Row. So what is that? 4 guests already on Monday. Beto, Amber, Chef KK, and Jonathan Coachman. It's a good lineup, man.
Gilbert and I have more surprises for you this whole week. So this is only the first of many surprises that I have for you. So I hope you're ready because we're gonna have some good stuff.
And that's the thing too. Like I'm busy, and you, Fernando, you're coming out of nowhere. We got this person. We got this person. Or look out for that person. They're coming to town. So I guess we'll be ready. But Fernando, I know you're eyeing the Pat McAfee show. I don't think they'll arrive till Tuesday. And you know what? I'll buy you maybe lunch or dinner if you get Pat on the show. I know that's kind of your big game for the week. So you get him. I'll give you that. So you delivered Ian Rappaport earlier this year, so I think I believe in you. You could do it, right?
I honestly I hope I can. I feel like Pat and I match the same kind of energy, so I feel like I'll be able to. You know what I forgot? I should have brought my for the brand sweatshirt that Dan and Deo got me for Christmas. I should have worn that. I wore on last time we did the show. Maybe I should have worn that tomorrow. Show off the guns, and then maybe Pat would jump on. But I forgot it at home, unfortunately. But there's some method to the madness. There's gonna be a way I'm gonna be able to get him on, and I know it.
I don't know, Fernando. You kind of messed up there with the shirts. You could have gave him a Compas on the beat shirt in return, kind of like the soccer jersey, kind of you swap you do there for the brand, the Compas on the beat. So I don't know, missed opportunity there for you, man.
Bro, I'm gonna ship it to him. Don't worry. I'm gonna tell him, hey Pat, we got a sleeveless Compas on the Beach shirt for you. Maybe he'll wear it on the show and rock it out there. So we got to get it sleeveless though. That's the key. If we can get him a sleeveless Compas on the Beat t-shirt, I'm sure Pat will rock it. But that is actually my big play for the week. I am gonna try and get Pat McAfee on, no matter what it takes. But I'm definitely excited for this week, Gilbert. We have so much stuff going on. First of all, we want to do we do want to get to all these great guests. And then shout out to Dan and Dago, who is here with us. Dan and Dago is helping us out this week. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of great content coming out this week for you guys. Gilbert, how exciting is this going to be?
No, I'm very excited. Sorry, Fernando, I went on mute. One thing we should maybe talk about is like you look around here in Radio Row, and everybody has these professional mics and setup and gear, and we're here trying to kind of we're trying to fake it till you make it, as the saying goes. So I think we're doing a good job in terms of that part. So it's kind of been the kind of nerve wracking to figure out how the things are going to work. So I was on mute right now. We have a little system going on. You're actually right in front of me, Fernando. We're making it work though. Maybe for year two, we'll do things better. But overall, it's pretty exciting to be here. Just at Radio Row, you see it when you're like watching the Super Bowl as a kid, and you hear about all these great interviews at Radio Row. What was it down in Miami? You saw like a fight, right? Like Jorge Masvidal against Usman.
It was so much fun.
So I'm kind of hoping a fight breaks out here at Radio Row. So we'll see. But then after after like Tuesday or Wednesday hits, you're like kind of eager for the game. Like, okay, let's get this over with. But who knows? Maybe it'll be fun throughout the whole week.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for this whole week. Guys, we have so much content to get out there, but what should we do? Should we go to are we going to go what do you think we should do first?
Let's see. You know what? I kind of like the order. Let's go. You want to go, Chef?
Let's go, Chef.
Chef KK, man. She got
Chef
me hungry.
KK. Let's do it. All right. So if you've been following Compas on the Beat, I like cooking. So who do we have to bring in? Chef KK, who is obviously a chef extraordinaire. She is a chef for Demi Lovato, Von Miller, Diddy, Michael Crabtree. But the reason why we really wanted to have her on is because Melvin Ingram. You are the chef of Melvin Ingram. Can you talk about the former Charger a little bit? 1, 2. How does it feel being here at Super Bowl week?
It feels amazing being here at Super Bowl week. I wish he was here. I wish he was at Super Bowl too, Melvin. I know, wish the Chiefs would have been able to make it. But Super Bowl week is pretty exciting right now. It's the beginning, it's day one, so it's getting started.
And Kay, he was pretty close, like you mentioned. Melvin Ingram with the Chiefs, playing pretty well. It's not with the Chargers anymore.
Yeah.
But when you're cooking for Melvin Ingram, what does he prefer? How does it kind of go down when you're in the kitchen for him?
You know what? He actually likes to be really healthy. I'm assuming because of his position and like body weight and stuff like that. He prefers like seafood or like leaner meats like lamb or so, and then no red meat, no pork, and a lot of vegetables, and he tries to stay away from starches and things like that. But I know one thing that he was loving that I make was I make this pasta with like all type of seafood in it, like crab and shrimp and things like that. But I would use these gluten-free brown rice noodles, and he just like he went crazy over that. Like he was obsessed, like loving it. So yeah, that's the kind of things he likes.
I guess when you're cooking, does he ever have any rap sessions? Or I know he's always in the studio making albums. Give you any shout outs in these albums by any chance?
I don't get any shout outs in his albums, but you know what? He is so good musically. I wouldn't look for like an athlete to be a rapper or anything like that, but like he's so good. But definitely always rapping, and just like it's like a live studio all the time. You know, if it's not football, it's rap. So that's pretty cool.
So I read that you went to the Culinary Olympics. Just where did your love of cooking come from?
My love of cooking just came from really family and just being always present in the kitchen with like my aunts or my mom or some, you know, whoever, and just really liking food, like loving to eat food as well. And I, you know, at a young age, well, 17, just decided like, you know what, this is what I want to do. I love music and this sort of cool lifestyle that comes with um, the profession that I took and the route that I took. So I just wanted to be involved in something that I knew I actually liked, and I knew I liked food. I knew I liked media. I liked music, and it's led me to where I am today. And yeah, the Culinary Olympics was pretty amazing. It is really like it's the real Olympics. It's every 4 years in food. And when I first went, I didn't know if it was going to be like actual like Olympics style. Like, you know, I'm like, what are they about to do? But a lot of it was visual. A lot of the things that I've seen in the Olympics when I went, I started seeing throughout the years until the next 4 years passed and the next Olympics came. And so it is like where everything starts, all the trends start for the Culinary Olympics. And that is all the way in Germany. And I did travel at 18 by myself and my teacher to Germany. So I was just really invested, and I loved art, and I just always wanted to like really take the steps to be ahead and, you know, master my craft.
It seems like, I mean, you starting so young, seems like you have ice in your veins. I mean, to see where you've started to now where you're at, I mean, has there been times where it's kind of like, oh, like you hesitate, but then you're able to overcome difficult times?
Absolutely. I think that is where like perseverance comes in, and that I'm sure it has a lot to do with like sports and the Super Bowl as well. Like it's a hard road to get to that finish line. And I mean, I'm not necessarily at the finish line, but I'm definitely like headed towards there, you know. And it was plenty of times that I thought, okay, well, maybe I just have to go work in a restaurant, or maybe I'm a move, you know, to a different state or something like that, because the cost of living in LA is so high and I can't afford it, you know. Like I went through every emotion to try to get to the stability that I'm at now. And with the help of just, you know, word of mouth and great clientele and even social media, you know, I'm able to sustain in my position.
And Kay, where's your home from you? Where you call home?
Home is right here, Los Angeles, born and raised, South Central LA. I went to culinary school. I can walk there from here, downtown at LA Trade Tech. And I mean, I used to pass, you know, my dad lives in Inglewood, grandma, born and raised. I'm a true native.
So,
sure.
Being here, your hometown, there's two football teams, but you're cooking for Von Miller and Melvin Ingram, a former Charger. Are you more Ram side, Charger side? Do you have a football team? Do you not choose at all?
You know what? I have such a great relationship with both of them, and I have the luxury of being able to just spread my craft to everyone evenly. So I just wanted to see. I was rooting for both of them. You know, when the Chiefs were playing, I was rooting for the Chiefs, and when the Rams were playing, I'm rooting for the Rams, because I want to see my friends and my peoples do well and just, you know, be happy and achieve what their goals are. And so either one of them, I know Melvin is extremely proud that they got to where they got to. And he, you know, I know he went from the Chargers to Pittsburgh and then to the Chiefs. So he had an interesting year, you know, and I'm just happy to see that he made it to the finals, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know that much. I'm in the kitchen, but you know, and then even to see Von, like, he's been in Denver for so long, and then you come to LA, and it's like you playing in the Super Bowl again at the SoFi for the Rams. You've been on the team for less than 6 months. Like, I'm sure like they're both just ecstatic. So I'm so proud of both of them.
So,
Go ahead, Fernando.
no, I was going to ask you, if we're over at your house, what is the go-to Super Bowl meal? What are you putting together for the Super Bowl?
See, when I'm at home cooking for myself, I am not doing too much at all. Like, I'm gonna eat some dip, and I'm having a drink, and I'm gonna be chilling. I know what was it, 2 years ago, I watched the Super Bowl at home, and I was super excited because Demi was singing the national anthem. So I was like, you know, it's just me and my sister at my house, very chill. I'm like, I don't feel like dealing with no parties or anything like that. I just want to watch the game. And I made some sweet chili ginger wings. I remember at halftime, I fried them really quick and tossed them. And we just ate some dip and had some wings and watched it. And I made us some little drinks. I had some cute little ice cubes from YSL, popped them in a drink and just, had a good time. So I like to keep it simple. I'm a dip girl. Like, I love dip. I can eat dip any day, like any kind of dip. So
I'm guessing you're not a double dipper, just one dip.
No, I actually get the smallest amount. I think it's the chips that I like more, and just the action of doing it. But yeah, you're not gonna get too much out of me at my house.
Okay, and Kay, I'm just really curious because you're working with all these celebrities. You mentioned Demi Lovato. I guess when was your big break, and kind of tell us the story of how you got to one of these celebrities or even an athlete for you to cook to.
Well, it was so funny because I actually started with like some of the Clippers players, cooking for them. My sister's ex-husband at the time, or husband at the time, he played professional basketball. So I kind of got in with the Clippers, like DeAndre Jordan, Ryan Gomes, and then I was, working, and it wasn't consistent, but it was there. And then social media, well, it was already Twitter, but then Instagram came out. So I was like continuously like posting like my food. And at the time, being a chef wasn't as popular. I was young. I was 22 or something, 21. And just being African American, being a woman, it just wasn't common. And so I think that helped make me stand out, on top of the fact that, my food is great. But of course, like a lot of the things in my career has been all word of mouth. A friend hit me up on Twitter and was just like, "Are you available to cook tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Okay, it's for Drake. He wants you to do a Super Bowl party." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, yes." Like,
be Drake
tomorrow, Super Bowl, 400
Okay.
people. We're gonna come bring you a list. And the list was so many things on the list, and I'm like, oh my God, I did not sleep for like 2 days. And I went to the grocery store and I just got started. And I went there, I killed it, I cooked all day, nonstop. He had a huge party in his backyard. It was so lit. And it was so fun because just like this year's Super Bowl, it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot all week, like 85 on Sunday. And that's how it was. He had a barbecue like in his backyard, and it was so hot. It was so cracking. But anyway, that's how it started. I cooked for him and really just started building a relationship. And from there, he posted me on Instagram, and so more people started taking me seriously. And people that have been knowing me for a long time, they're like, oh, even though I was like, I've been over here, y'all let me. but that's where it kind of started. And that was a while ago, like 2012, maybe 2013. And from there, it's just been all word of mouth. All word of mouth. Michael Crabtree was actually one of my first clients too. It was funny. I kind of got Crab and Drake like at the same time. It was like Drake for Super Bowl, and then a week later or 2 weeks later, it was All Star. And I went to Houston. He called me. He called me personally and was like, "You not in Houston? Get on a plane." And I came down there and I cooked for him for 3 days straight. It was not. I literally didn't sleep for like 4 days. And like from then on, Michael Crabtree has never had another chef other than me. like that is like a brother for real, for real. And that's honestly how I met like Vaughn and other people. So it's really like all word of mouth, like who you know, and just having a good rapport and relationship with everybody.
So shout out to Drake, shout out to Michael Crabtree for helping us out. Chef, before we let you go, you have something coming up. BBC's Hungry for It. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you're going to be doing?
Yes, that was by far like the coolest experience I've ever had. I've never been on television, and to be a judge on this cooking show in the UK, it's going to be so dope. It is a cooking competition show. It is 10 competitors, 10 cooks, and I am a judge / mentor on the show. I'm also with Big Zoo, who's a big deal in London in the food scene and a music artist, as well as Stacey Dooley. She's also the host of the show. So it's between Stacey and Zoo and I, and basically me and Zoo are the mentors for the cooks / judges, and best experience ever. Like the show is so dope. Like it's I don't know. I can't even explain. I don't know. I probably can't say too much, but it's like the best cooking show I've ever seen. And I say that because literally every day it was time to film, I was like fully invested. Like, okay, what's going on today? Like I was so excited to see the different challenges and the different things that the contestants or the cooks had to do. So that should be airing very soon on BBC 3, which just got back on television in the UK. And I'm excited. It's really good. Like, you guys are gonna
if I was on a show like that, I'd be wearing sweatpants because you're gonna eat some good food on there.
Listen, I came out there all slim and trim, and by the end of that 10th episode, I'm like, woo, I need to get back home. Like, we're eating so much food. It was crazy. It was so good. And all the cooks are so talented, and it was just so inspiring. And like, it's funny, it's emotional, it's exciting, like it's new. It's not something you've never seen before. I'm really happy about that.
It's pretty cool. I'm guessing for you being the mentor, kind of passing down to the next generation of people that want to cook.
It really is, because you know what? Just being a private chef, I work alone. Like I work for myself. I do try to help other people. I started a agency called the Saffron Agency, where I try to help other chefs get placements with clientele, because sometimes I'm just overbooked and people ask me, do you know a chef? And so I tried to like weave out all the frivolous, and try to pick some of the best that I can be able to be a great referral, like how people refer me. That can get a little complicated sometimes. Whereas this, I knew that these people really came for mentorship. They really came to learn and are really excited and appreciate it. I was really happy I was able to like fully give to them and not expect anything back in return.
Gilbert, you got to put Chef KK on the spot for Sunday's game. Tell her to give us a prediction.
I think I know where she's going, because she's cooking for somebody.
You already know where I'm going. It's the Rams for me.
And is Von Miller winning the MVP?
Yeah, sure. I hope so. I don't know.
There you go, from Chef K. Rams are winning, Von Miller winning the MVP at Super Bowl.
Good time.
There you go. You can find Chef K on Twitter at Chef KK for more recipes and ideas. Also on Pinterest and TikTok. Make sure you guys follow her, and obviously on Instagram at Chef KK. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, I'm excited for this next guest. He's a man, the myth, the legend. We've seen him in WWE. We've seen him in ESPN. We've seen him at NBC. Now he's at CBS. He's a part of the Early Edge, a daily sportsline betting podcast. He is the man, the myth, the legend, like I said, Jonathan Coachman. Coach, how are you doing today?
Man, I could not be any better. Fernando, I got to tell you, I was just telling the guys inside, I said, when I give guys credit for taking their shot, and you and I just ran into each other on the street this morning, and you shot your shot, I said, you know what? I'm going to come on his damn podcast. I don't think you believe me. I'm excited to be here. And as you can see, life is not too bad out here on the West Coast, brother. Not too bad.
So I appreciate you coming on. For fans who don't know, we were walking into Radio Row today, and I saw the coach walking across the street. I'm like, the coach. And I said what's up to him, and I shot my shot. I was like, hey, coach, would love to have you on the podcast. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, oh, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, cool. Awesome. I heard great things, by the way. great things
Oh,
and
wow.
everything. So
Thank you.
that's awesome that you and again, thank you for jumping on. But
Sure.
Coach, when you see this game this weekend, I mean, what's something that jumps out at you about either one of these teams or something on the betting line, or what's something that jumps out at you?
Well, there's so many different storylines that you look at, and I'm kind of leaning towards the Bengals side because I'm a huge Chiefs fan, so it obviously hurt losing last week. But what I saw is somebody who's going to be a future Hall of Famer. Here is a guy that we are in a situation where he can win the national championship, the Heisman Trophy, and also the Super Bowl title in just 3 years. So to me, I love storylines that can happen. I love history-making storylines. I love legacy-making storylines, and that's what Joe Burrow is. But then on the flip side, Fernando, you're talking about Matthew Stafford. For 12 years, he toiled in Detroit as a Lion. And now the first year that he comes out to sunny Los Angeles, he makes it to the Super Bowl. So I think there's a lot of really cool storylines when it comes to betting, though, because that's the world that I live in most of the time. To me, you've got to take the Bengals with the points because they're getting 3.5, they're getting 4. Joe Burrow has proven 3 straight weeks in a row, the Raiders, the Titans, the Chiefs, that it doesn't matter how much they're down. It also doesn't matter the score. They can come back and win. So you give me 4 points, I'll take the Bengals all day.
And it feels, Coach, like you said, I mean, it feels like there's so many names on the Rams. The Bengals are more of that quiet team that's really taking teams by surprise. And it feels like everybody's going more Rams. And you're like, no, the Bengals, they have a little bit of that juice. They have that Mamba mentality, if you will, of they're not going to quit. They're not going to die. They're going to go down swinging. So that's been the most impressive part to me about the way they've kind of approached these last few weeks.
That's a great point, Fernando. And you also got to understand, culture is a very real thing in the NFL. Some have great culture in the Patriots, Chiefs, teams like that, Steelers. And you got other teams that for years and years and years, the Bengals have been a laughingstock. They just didn't want to spend money. They didn't want to bring in big-time free agents. But I say this all the time, that if you have a great quarterback, everything else can take care of itself. So look what happens. They bring in Joe Burrow. He gets hurt last year, but he set the table, and people knew what they were going to get this year. Then you get Jamar Chase, dynamic, and they played together, so you did not have to teach them how to play together. So when I look at things like that, I love it. I also love the fact that the AFC, when you're talking about Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they're going to dominate the NFL for the next 10 or 15 years. I feel really, really bad for the NFC teams because I think it's going to be an AFC-dominated Super Bowl for many, many years to come.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and when you look at that dynamic of the young quarterbacks, and there's more probably coming. I mean, Pittsburgh, Big Ben just retired. Some other people are starting to make their way out of the AFC. It could get even younger, but Coach, when you see Joe Burrow, I mean, what's the one thing that stands out to you about him?
Confidence, swag. There's no moment that's too big for him. Last week, 21-3, it looked like a coronation. 4th straight year, the Chiefs make it to the AFC Championship. Patrick Mahomes is going to be the next Tom Brady. Wait a second. You got to play 60 minutes. And what that game did for Joe Burrow and what it showed me is that no matter how much you're down, no matter how much maybe the atmosphere is against you, because Arrowhead is the greatest atmosphere in the NFL, it doesn't matter. Certain guys are wired differently. Certain guys are made differently. I worked with a lot of people when I was at ESPN, even in the WWE, when you talk about guys like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, or other guys at ESPN like Teddy Bruschi, some of these old Patriots, they're wired different. They're used to success. They're used to winning. And when you're around a winning culture, that wears off on everybody else. The Bengals haven't had that, but Joe Burrow has. He had it at LSU. He was dominant. They won a national championship. Why wouldn't you bring that to the Cincinnati Bengals? So it's all about culture, but it's all about having that swag and that confidence to know that no matter who's around you, Fernando, you can get the job done.
Okay, good. Coach, when you look at the Super Bowl is awesome because you also get those wacky bets. You get like the coin toss, all this different stuff. Is there any particular one that you've kind of looked at and you're like, oh, wow, that's a funny one or that's a great one to look at?
I am so glad that you asked that question because actually tonight I'll be doing my research in my hotel room because tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern time, for all of your incredibly smart viewers, they can watch our Early Edge Props Spectacular. We're going to break down every single prop bet that we could possibly do over the course of an hour on CBS Sports HQ. Now, the one that my guys are looking at a lot, they love the coin flip because you can get off to a good start right away. or a bad start. Hopefully you catch the national anthem. It's always around 1 minute and 56 seconds, 1 minute and 57. I'll never forget the story. One year I was at the Super Bowl, Carrie Underwood. I was at a party, and people kept asking her, because she was singing the national anthem. They said, how long is it going to be tomorrow? She's not a gambler. She had no idea that you could actually bet on the length of the Super Bowl. So she didn't know what to tell everybody. But there are so many fun prop bets. We're also going to have a live watch party during the show, because what we found out last year, Fernando, is that we had a 2-hour pre-show. We talked about all the bets, but we weren't there to pay them off and talk about when they cash first, second, third quarter. So we're going to be watching along the entire game. And when, say, Joe Burrow over half an interception hits, we'll know exactly when that's going to happen. We're going to be talking live prop betting. That's a new thing. Most people know about live betting, but you can bet live props as well. So there are levels to this game, and most people aren't aware of them yet, and that's why we're here.
Coach, I know you have swag. I know you're a guy. You're the coach, enough said. But can you talk about this halftime show? How hyped are you for the halftime show?
It's a little bittersweet, to be honest with you. When you bring in 4 of the biggest names to ever do it, and you're not going to give them 20 minutes, you're going to give them, 8, 10 minutes? That's kind of like a little tease to me. But at least they're tapped in to what the public wants. And just like with sports betting, the halftime show has to understand that you got to play to a younger audience, 18 to 34. Those who are watching, those are the ones that are betting. Those are the ones that understand what hip-hop is all about. And this may be the last time, Fernando, that we ever see Dr. Dre and Eminem and Snoop Dogg together on one stage. I've also heard that Dr. Dre wants it to be so spectacular that he's paying for it himself, because the NFL would only go so far financially. So I think at this point, the NFL understands that as important as the halftime show is, the message that we're trying to send. And right now, and we've seen this week with the NFL, that diversity and inclusion is a really big topic. It's not a new topic, Fernando, but it's a big topic. And from a black man in this industry that has been on national TV for a long time, I don't speak on it a lot, but there comes a time that no matter what the league is, no matter what the content is, no matter what it is, you've got to see different faces across. I'm big with the PGA Tour, and I want more people like myself doing golf, doing sports that maybe a lot of black people aren't participating in. The NFL is not like that, but it still needs diversity and inclusion across the board from the top down. So I think the halftime show, even though maybe it wasn't thought of that way, certainly comes at a very, very important time for the NFL.
I completely agree, and I know you're a betting man, Coach. So, what do you think the betting line would be if Ice Cube? Do you think Ice Cube is going to come out? I have a pretty good feeling Ice Cube may show up and surprise us all. What do you think?
How do you not? I mean, there's one guy that's missing out of these 4 or 5. I think if you're going to do this, and really you only get one shot to do the halftime show for the Super Bowl, why wouldn't you pull out all the stops? I recently went to a Dan and Shay concert in Los Angeles where Justin Bieber lives. And I told some of their friends, I said, how do you not have Justin Bieber in the building to sing 10,000 Hours, which won a Grammy? I said, that's a big miss. And so hopefully Ice Cube is there. Hopefully they sneak him in, because one of the best nights I ever had was me and The Rock in Eugene years ago. We snuck The Rock into the building down in San Diego. Nobody knew he was going to be there. So when he came out, the place went bananas. Can you imagine if Ice Cube comes out and Eminem's standing there, and Dr. Dre standing there, and Snoop Dogg is standing there, and there's Ice Cube? That would be a drop the mic moment, and it better be for whatever the last song is going to be. You can't top that.
I'm 100% with you, Coach. Now, Coach, I got to ask you, and I know we just became friends. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I got to ask, what hurts more, a rock bottom or the Chiefs losing last weekend in the AFC Championship game?
Well, I never understood. I'm now in my 40s. I'm still young, but I'm certainly not in my 20s. I don't live and die by the Chiefs winning or losing a football game. Yeah, it hurts, but I also am very, very smart and understand that you have to deserve to win. So that didn't hurt nearly as bad as a rock bottom, a 3D through a table, a spear from Goldberg, which apparently I had an anniversary of just a few days ago because everybody was posting that video as well. And they're like, how did you take all that stuff? I said, hey, there's an art form to getting your ass kicked. And I was really, really good at it. But the rock bottom is actually just like taking a flat back. That doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
The ones that hurt are the ones where you have to go high and you have to do flips and stuff like that. I never thought I'd be able to do it. I'm proud of how much I was able to do, but I also would never disrespect the guys who wrestled 4 and 5 days a week for 20 years and call myself a wrestler. But I thought I was a pretty good entertainer at what I did.
No, you were awesome, Coach. I still remember the day that Mr. McMahon screwed you and had you face John Cena. He put you through in a tables match. That was disgraceful. I can't believe Mr. McMahon came out and did that to you. That was just terrible. But man, you honestly, I mean, I enjoyed watching you. And then now The Rock is doing your shtick. Like, it's just so embarrassing to see everybody try to be like the coach. Everyone's jealous of the coach and they want to be like him.
I've been saying it for years. Embarrassing is a great word. Copycat is a great word. But I will say this: I'm very, very proud because I don't talk about it a lot. But back in 2008, when I was trying to leave pro wrestling after 10 years, and you have what I call the wrestling stain on you, I knocked that door down at ESPN. And as difficult as it was for me, other people that came after me found it so much easier because they didn't have to be in an office and someplace and them tell them, no, this has never been done. You can't work for the WWE and then come work for ESPN. It just doesn't work that way. Now, whether it's Charlie, Grisham, all these different people that have made the transition over because of me, I'm very, very proud of that. And also, there's new executives that are at different networks that are cool. Networks that understand shows like yours, shows like mine, understand the value of them and the value and not worry about, do they deserve to be here? Do they belong here? And I knew I belonged at ESPN. I knew I belonged at WWE. So one of the things I do now, helping run my own brand and helping CBS, is making them understand we need to pick each other up. We need to lift each other up because there's so many talented people out there. Why would you want to stand in the way of somebody who's talented enough to be here just because you didn't like what they did before? There's a lot of things I don't like, but if a person is good enough to be there, he's going to help my company and help my network, then damn it, I'm going to let him try. And so I made it 10 years. It wasn't always easy, but we made it 10 years.
No, and Coach, I was about it, and that was going to be my last thing. I was going to give you so much credit for that because you literally blew that door down and you moved into ESPN and you said, hey, I don't care where the hell I was before. I'm here now and I'm Jonathan Coachman and I'm doing this. Like, and that's the thing is that, yeah, maybe some people might not see what WWE is. They might see it as like WWE, this, that. Hey, you were still doing your job. You were commentating. You were asking questions. You were doing different things. And for you to transition to WWE and open that door, that was just incredible. And all the stuff that you're doing now is just fantastic. And I love seeing it because you came from a different background. That's the thing. People don't understand that we all come from different backgrounds. We all don't start off working at like the top-notch places. You have to, somebody comes from somewhere. And I just think it's incredible the way you were able to build yourself up and the way you were able to make it and the way you were able to do it. I just think and it's awesome that you were able to open the door for the rest of the people coming up behind you.
That is incredibly kind of you to say. And the one thing I do want to make sure all of your viewers and listeners understand that in today's day and age, whether it's a podcast like this, which is so important to the Latino community, or it's a podcast like the Early Edge of Sports Line at CBS where I work, that's so important to educate, entertain people who want to get into sports betting and do it in a very responsible way. Whatever it is, now you can do it, but you have to think about it. You have to evolve. If you're walking down a road, and this is what I call COVID. I said COVID gave us a fork in the road, and a lot of us lost our gigs, lost our projects. I did, just like everybody else, because I was traveling all the time. So I had to tell myself, what can I do to get back to that level during COVID when nobody's hiring, when nobody's traveling, when nobody's doing any of that? And that's how I got into the sports betting and now become one of the faces of it here. But throughout your lifetime, there's going to come times in your life where you've got to evolve and you've got to change. It doesn't mean that you have to sell out yourself. It doesn't mean you have to completely change, but you got to adapt to the world you're living in if you want to stay in the business that we're in this entertainment business, in this sports business that I have loved since I was 19 years old. It's important to me. It matters to me. And I want people who are watching this right now to understand that no matter where you start, It's where you finish. And if you want to do this
Of
or
course.
do what my man Fernando does, there's nobody telling you that you can't but yourself. So get it started
Of
right
course.
now. Anybody can start a podcast. Anybody can start a brand. It's a matter of how hard you want to work at it, how much talent you have, and how you utilize those connections to make it work. It's not easy, but it's rewarding, and it's the best business in the world, and you'll love it.
Yeah, no, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But Coach, just last second, if you can, I don't know, I know that you're gonna do your whole show tomorrow and everything, but I just wanted to see Sunday score. Who you got?
28-24. It's going to be the Bengals beating the Rams.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a really, really tight game. I think the Rams will jump out quickly because they're going to have the home crowd. But I've seen a lot of people this week say, oh, the Rams are playing a home game. They're not really. If you look at the ticket prices, if you look at the corporate suites, this is more for the corporations than it is for the hardcore fans. And even though it's a big stadium, I went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago in Miami with Chiefs and 49ers. Tickets were going for $10,000, but there's only 65,000. There's a lot more than that here, and they're still going for more than that. So I don't think home field advantage is going to be a big, big deal. I think Matthew Stafford will make at least one more mistake than Joe Burrow does, and I think the Bengals will, late in the game, take the lead, be able to hold them off and win 28-24. They won't even need the 4 points, but they'll take them.
Coach, you don't know how much this means to me. I mean, growing up and watching you and now getting to interview, this has been completely awesome. Thank you so much for jumping on Compas on the Beat. I truly appreciate it. And anything else you want to tell the listeners or you want to say?
Just keep doing your thing, man. Keep plugging away. And this is a perfect example that if you shoot your shot, you never know who's going to say yes. But if you don't ask, they damn sure aren't going to say yes. So thank you sincerely. Enjoy the week. Keep doing your thing. Ask really good questions because that's what separates the good from just everybody else. All right? Be good,
and that
be safe, pay it forward, and we'll see you down the road, all right?
That's Jonathan Coachman. Enough said. Thank you so much, Coach. I appreciate it.
That was one of my
I know. That's why I said it. I love that shirt. I love that shirt. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, no, I love it. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Stay in touch, okay?
Thank you. I will do. Have a good one.
All right.
Welcome back, guys. We have a very special guest, Amber Theoharis, who works for Sirius XM. You can catch her this week, Sirius XM channel 87. They have some great guests coming out. Angelo Hall, James Jones. They have, if you're a fan, if you're a WWE freak like me, they have The Miz coming out also. That's going to be awesome. But let's get to the interview with Amber. Amber, thank you so much for joining us. How excited are you for Super Bowl week?
I love it. I mean, this is, I hate to count, but I think this is my 12th Super Bowl. So every week, every time you get an opportunity to cover the greatest game in the world, it's really a fun week. And I feel very grateful to be in the profession I am and be able to hang out with the media and the players. It's great.
Amber, you kind of told us a story and a little bit about yourself. You were in Las Vegas for the Pro Bowl. You said hi to your 3 kids from 6 to 11, young kids. You said hi, and then you ditched them right away to come to this podcast. Should we feel honored? Are we concerned about you? I don't know. What's going on, Amber?
Look, they know the deal. Because if they complain, I said, do you like those shoes? Do you like this light in the house? Do you like the food? Okay, then let mama go to work. Okay. No, they're used to it. They were born into this profession. They didn't have a choice. I was traveling around pregnant, covering baseball, covering football. So I feel like they've always had a traveling mommy, but this business is kind of great in the sense that when you're gone, yes, you miss them, but then you're home for really long stretches. So you're not the 9 to 5, working every single day. So it's nice. I get to spend a lot of quality time with them, but they know between Pro Bowl and Super Bowl week, daddy's in charge, which is not always a great thing. I came home and I said, the only wish that I had asked was that they were alive when I came home from being gone for a week, and they were alive, but that was the bare minimum. That was the bare minimum. The house was a wreck. There was no food in the fridge. I think there was McDonald's. So you know what? You just learn to say, all right, my husband did the best he could, but it's good that I'm home.
Hey, that's how it was for me growing up, Amber. My mom gave us some McDonald's. You guys are okay? Fine. Time to go to work. You're on your own. And like you mentioned, you're alive and well. So I kind of I like that, Amber. That you gave them the rules, the drills, and on your way.
You got to learn to let everything go. You're like, they'll live. And sometimes not being a helicopter parent, I think, is good for them. Like they learn to do things on their own. And they definitely probably learned to feed themselves this weekend on their own. So that was good. And they now know how to make things on the stove, and they're 6.
Shout out to Dad for teaching life lessons. That's what he did, Amber. He taught life lessons. He showed those skills to be self-sufficient.
Don't gang up, all you men. Don't gang up. Don't be the dad crew over there. You guys know your moms, the women in the family do everything, but you guys do a good job. Dads do a good job. They love their kids.
No, we respect that, Amber.
Yeah, 100%. When we were in Philly, I even put them on Instagram. I took a picture and I said my mom actually did dress me. So she said out Michael, she was like, this is the way you need to dress. I'm like, okay, Mom, whatever you say. So hey, I'm not gonna fight against my mom. My mom's always right.
How old are you? How old are you?
Yeah, that doesn't matter. I'm a mama's boy until the day I die.
Oh my gosh.
Hey,
sounds like, were you raised by a Greek mother? Because it sounds like a Greek mom. That's what we do.
That's a Mexican mother right there.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah, almost the same thing.
Same thing.
Amber, you were obviously in Vegas yesterday, and we all know Justin Herbert, offensive MVP. Just what were some of your takeaways from watching Justin go out on the field and kind of play?
It didn't take me seeing him in the Pro Bowl to be impressed with how strong of a young talent he is, and just seeing him in his second year and seeing the progression from year 1 to year 2, but then as a collective 2 years to have one of the best first 2 seasons ever of any young quarterback, and to beat Dan Marino's records. And it's clear that the Chargers have their future. They have the future of the franchise, but now it's a matter of what is it going to take to allow Justin to thrive in that offense. We saw the first year between him and Brandon Staley. We saw the aggressive 4th down calls, the analytics. So I feel like from the national media side, we really got an early look of who they're going to be or who they want to be. And it almost worked. And now they're 1 year away, right? So now we got year 2 of that combination. And how does that progress? Does it progress into being able to make the playoffs in what's become a very difficult AFC West? A lot of changes within the division, with the Broncos and the Raiders getting a new coach. And so I think there's a real opportunity for the Chargers and Justin Herbert. People forget he's only 22 years old. Joe Burrow is 25. Even though he's in his second year, he's 25 years old because of the Ohio State LSU thing. So those 3 years of maturity do give you an advantage for sure. And so you have to credit Justin Herbert even more for being so young and accomplishing what he did in just 2 years in the NFL.
Yeah, that's a good point, Amber. The more experience you get, the better you do. But I'm curious about the Pro Bowl, because when Justin Herbert got his MVP award, there was a rain of boos dropping down. Was it pretty loud down there?
It was, you're in the black hole, baby. You're in Vegas. Like, what do you expect? It's a Chargers quarterback getting an award. Raider Nation was out in full effect yesterday at the Pro Bowl, like the scariest people you've ever seen in your life at the happiest event the NFL puts on. So, of course, they're going to boo the MVP of essentially an all-star game. But I interviewed Justin right after the game, and that was actually the first time I've interviewed him. And I was really impressed. Just a very nice young man. He seemed very mature, but he also seemed young. Like you could really see that there was so much room to become more comfortable in who he is and more assertive and things like that. He's definitely assertive on the field, but it's also who's around him. Is Mike Williams going to come back? How are they going to use Austin Eckler? Can he stay healthy? Keenan Allen is older, so they're going to eventually need to replace Keenan Allen if they need, Joe Burrow. I keep going back to this, but because we're here at the Super Bowl, he has Jamar Chase. He has T. Higgins. He has Tyler Boyd. He has all these young weapons around him. And that's what Justin Herbert is going to need in order to grow long-term together.
Amber.
Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Amber. Because I've been knocking on this. I've been saying for this kid, keep on getting him weapons no matter what. It doesn't matter if it takes, you got to keep on giving him weapons, especially because he is just one of these guys that can really he feels like he can make anybody a star. And I've been telling Gilbert for the last 2 years, whatever it takes, get this kid weapons. get him a Jamar Chase or get him a Tyreek Hill or get him something that he can keep on growing with and keep on progressing with. So thank you for making my point.
But I think that's any young quarterback, right? Like, there's two things they need. They need a young weapon like a Jamar Chase, but they also need an offensive line. And, you know, there was times where the Chargers line played well, and there was time where the Chargers line didn't, but they do have a young left tackle that was at the Pro Bowl, and Rashawn Slater, right? So they have some of the pieces there with the offensive line, but I feel like when you have a young quarterback like that, you can't focus enough on the offensive line in the offseason. You know, I look at somebody like a Mac. I feel like in the AFC, there's a changing of the guards. We have all these young quarterbacks, right? And if you Patrick Mahomes, he has a Kelsey and a Tyreek Hill. Mac Jones doesn't have that. So I feel like Mac Jones is maybe even behind Justin Herbert. At least Justin Herbert has some weapons. Mac Jones doesn't have those, like, you know, receivers that you have to circle and say, we're going to double team them. So I would put Justin Herbert and Mac Jones kind of like in a different category than Joe Burrow and Pat Mahomes when we're looking at the future of the AFC right now, because Patrick and Joe have the weapons. Now, clearly Joe Burrow needs an offensive line around him. We saw him in that divisional round get sacked 9 times. And we're going to see what happens in the Super Bowl with Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd and Von Miller coming after him. So that offensive line is going to get tested again. And I think the number one move you'll probably see from the Bengals in the offseason is to strengthen the offensive line. Going back to what I'm saying about Justin Herbert, you know, you can never pay attention and never bring too much talent in around your young quarterback when it comes to protection.
Amber, you mentioned you've been to 12 Super Bowls. You know, it's kind of a strange Super Bowl still. Maybe not like last year in Tampa Bay because of the whole COVID protocols. But we're still kind of in that same kind of weird area. Like today's opening night of media day, and we were talking to Joe Burrow at 7 in the morning. Like, what kind of opening night at 7 in the morning? So it was kind of a little strange. But, you know, the one thing I noticed about, you know, Joe Burrow, people kind of like the swag. They're always asking about the swag and the personality, the cigars, the turtleneck, the diamond chain, all that. But when you talk to him, or I don't know if you've gotten to talk to him, Amber, or when I saw him in that, you know, that fake opening night Zoom press conference,
Fake.
he was very, you know, chill, composed, laid back, poised, and I feel like that's the way he plays on the field, is, you know, kind of a poised quarterback. But when it's time to kind of get a little, you know, show it off a little bit when he wins the big games, he knows how to do that. But I think for the most part, I think people like that confidence, and that's how he's gotten this team in year 2, the Bengals, to the Super Bowl. Is that something you think is a big deal for that Joe's kind of gotten Cincinnati, the whole city, to buy into what he's doing?
Look, it's very difficult to be drafted to a losing organization. And usually when you're the number 1 overall pick, the reason why you're going to that city is because they're bad. The team is bad. That's why they have the number 1 overall pick. And so it's really difficult as a young quarterback to come in and change an entire culture within the first 2 years. I mean, just 2 years ago, the Cincinnati Bengals only had 2 wins, right? They have a young coach in Zach Taylor. But one thing that I've noticed about Joe Burrow, it's not even like just his swag. It is the way that he says things, the way that he allows people to phrase things around him. He doesn't allow them to be excited just for making the playoffs or just for getting a win. He wants to change sort of to that old Patriot mentality of we're expected to win. And once you flip to that mentality that we were supposed to be here, we belong here, we're not just so thankful that we made it, that's when you start to change the culture from the inside out. And I think that's what Joe has offered. I mean, yes, his cool demeanor, the fact that he doesn't get rattled when he is sacked 9 times, he doesn't cuss out his offensive line or throw a football, or, you know, we've even seen Tom Brady do that this year when he was getting hit hard by the Saints. You know, he tells Dennis Allen to, you know, go pound sand. And, you know, to see the GOAT do that and Joe Burrow not do that shows you that he's calm and collected, but more so he understands what it takes to be a winner. And he's always been a winner going back throughout college. He's always been a winner. And so he brings that mentality that we expect to win. We're not just thankful to win. We're not just grateful. Anything less is unacceptable. And so he's changing the Bengals culture.
Amber, do you feel like all the pressure is basically right now on the Rams because of all the pieces that they've gotten? They go out, they get Matthew Stafford during the season. You go get Von Miller, you sign OBJ, you have all these guys. Do you feel like the pressure's a little bit more on them because of everything that surrounds them, and then obviously them being the home team basically in the Super Bowl, being at home?
Yeah, they're the away team at home. It's true. They are the away team, actually, but they just happen to be playing at home here in the Super Bowl. I think that's a difficult question. I think the pressure is on everybody once you get to the Super Bowl. Once you get to the Super Bowl, you're expecting to win the Super Bowl. And I don't think if the Bengals lose, there's going to be a feeling of, oh, well, it's okay. We got so close. As going back to my last answer, they expect to win now. So there is no hey, we're just so glad we got there and maybe next year. So I think there's a lot of pressure on the Bengals as well. And I think for the Rams, this is Sean McVay's second trip there. So, I think he would obviously like to perform much better than they did in the first trip to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. And I think whenever you do go all in and you create this all-star team, that there is more of a focus on you because you gave up everything. You gave up these draft picks. I mean, look what they gave up for Matt Stafford, 3 first-round picks, right? And a third round, I think. And then they lose Jared Goff, too, who was a guy that got them to the Super Bowl. So they gave up so much to get him. They really didn't give up anything for OBJ. They paid him in Bitcoin because he was cut. Remember, he was cut by the Browns. So it didn't cost them anything. But yes, to trade for Von Miller. I think there's an expectation. It's kind of like when LeBron went to Miami, right? And they created that dream team. It was like, okay, now if you don't win, then it's a complete failure. But also people know that all-star teams don't always win right away. Just because you get all the parts doesn't mean there's chemistry. Remember, all these parts came in the middle of the season. We've seen different machinations of this Rams team, who they were at training camp versus the first couple of weeks versus midseason versus the end of the season versus now. And even Matt Stafford's taken different identities throughout those different moments in the season. I mean, just at the end of the season, he was throwing the ball to the other team more than he was throwing touchdowns, right? And then he gets into the playoffs and he's playing clean games. Now, if Jaquiski Tartt catches the ball, it wouldn't have been as clean, but look, we can't go back and look at that in the NFC Championship game. But so I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, maybe you could say there's more pressure because Les Snead was all in and a win now, whereas the Bengals were obviously trying to win now, but there's many, many years to come for the Bengals. But we all know it's hard to get to the Super Bowl. It is hard to get back there. So this idea that it's okay if the Bengals lose, it's okay, we'll be back next year. People in this league know it doesn't work like that. I think the Bengals.
So if the Rams win the Super Bowl, is the movie going to be called One Night in Cabo? Because that's literally where this trade went down for Matthew Stafford. So I feel like that's gonna be the name of their documentary.
It will. It'll just be put it with the rest of the sports folklore. I guess it's just one of those others. But that's how business goes down all the time in the NFL. That's how these things work between GMs. It's just very few of those stories get out. So it seems very Hollywood-esque. And of course, with the Rams being in LA, people made it this big story. But it's kind of how business is done everywhere.
Amber, one more question before Fernando puts you on the spot. But I feel like, this guy doesn't get talked about as much. And I feel like you probably have some good things to say about him. But Cooper Kupp, I feel like every time I watch that guy play, he's making a play, he's scoring a touchdown, he's getting a good block. So just watching Cooper Kupp for this whole year, the numbers he put up, I think he got over 2,000 yards just total. And he should maybe even get the MVP. I doubt it, but it's a more quarterback award. But just watching Cooper Kupp play in 2021, now to 2022, what did you think about him?
So Cooper Kupp has been, like you said, one of the more underreported stories. He's had one of the best seasons ever in NFL history, even better than Jerry Rice. And it's mentioned, but it's not, nobody's harped on it. And that's unfortunate. But I think that's also because of who Cooper Kupp is. He's just a quiet, stay to himself kind of guy. He's not flashy about his touchdowns. Like if OBJ had these same kind of numbers, if it was OBJ instead of Cooper Kupp, everybody would be talking about it. Everybody would know about it. But it's just been quiet, and that's been interesting. It kind of shows you that the NFL gravitates towards the louder kind of players. But in this game on the football field, Cooper Kupp is make no mistake about it. Lou Anarumo, the defensive coordinator for the Bengals, the number one player he is circling is Cooper Kupp. We saw in every level of the playoffs. I remember the Bucs game, the last two passes where he just got behind the Bucs defense and just scored. He just torched them. And that's what he can do on any given play. So a lot of people say, oh, should they run the ball? Should they give it to Cam Akers? Should they give it to Sony Michel? Yeah, because play action is a big part of the game. But if they keep giving it to Cam Akers, I think that's a win for the Bengals because that means they're not giving it to Cooper Kupp at that point. So if you just have Matt Stafford come out, start firing, and complete a bunch of passes to Cooper Kupp, it's going to be a long day if that's secondary for the Bengals, who's played very well, by the way. One of the more underrated units in the NFL, Mike Hilton and Eli Apple, and I forget who else I'm missing. But if Cooper Kupp can exploit that secondary early, I think it's going to be the Rams all the way.
So now that you kind of put us in there, I got to ask you, who you got this weekend?
You know what? I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm going to go with the underdog.
Ooh.
I just think they have heart. I think they have that feeling of lightning in a bottle. I think the explosiveness of Jamar Chase, no matter how much you double team him, you're still going to have Joe Burrow can always come from behind. The one key, though, is going to be running the football early with Joe Mixon, establishing that, because that hasn't been the formula. And they've gotten behind and had to play from behind and had to throw the football. If they can get an early lead and then establish Joe Mixon and continue to run the football and keep the ball out of Matt Stafford's hands, I think that could be the formula. And I think Matt Stafford can make mistakes. We've seen that. So I don't know. I just, there's a feeling about the Bengals, I guess, that I like. And I like their defense. I like their front seven a lot.
Very underrated defense. It's fun. Before we let you go, Amber, I just wanted to let you know, when you asked me to be on your show, it's funny. We were at the craps table in Vegas, Gilbert and I. And it's funny because I threw the dice and I lost. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bow out. But then lucky, I look at my phone. Amber Theoharis had just followed me on Twitter. She asked me to be on her show. I'm like, wow, I'm the luckiest guy walking out of here. And obviously you had asked me to jump on. It's funny. We went out till like 3 a.m. that night. You asked me to jump on at like 8. I was like, okay, I have to mentally prepare to jump on this. And I was ready. And then you told me, oh, I accidentally double booked. I'm so sorry.
I didn't. My producer did.
No, your producer.
I took responsibility, but yeah.
No, you're good. But I was like, you know what? It's fine. I went back to sleep. And then I asked you, will you jump on with us? You said yes. So this has been awesome. I appreciate you jumping on with it. But like I said, walking out of Vegas that night, I was the lucky one because we were able to get you on the show, or ask you to be on the show and everything. So I appreciate that.
Next time you should text me, should I put red or black? I would have given you my high school number. It could have been like black 16. I would have definitely helped you out, help you win some money. But no, I'll have you on another time on the show. It would be an honor to have you.
What was that number again? What color, Amber?
16, black 16.
Okay, we got it. Remember, Fernando.
High school.
You have to hear. Hey, those are the best ones, and those are the bets that are gonna win. But we definitely appreciate Amber. Hey, don't forget to check it out this week. They're going to be having awesome guests, Channel 87, Sirius XM. They're going to have everybody. And like I said, I want to do it again, so I'm going to say it. They're going to have The Miz, who is awesome. So, yes, check it out. Check out the show.
I think we have some other wrestlers, and this is how bad. I don't know WWE that, like, they're coming on, and I'm like, hi, what's your name? And they're like, Brian. And I'm like, oh, hey, Brian. And I'm talking, and their real name is like The Destroyer, and everybody knows them, and my kids are calling me, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to know who this guy is?
If you need an intern for the week, I got you. I can whisper all the names in your ear. I know all these guys, so I'm definitely all about it.
That'd be awesome. Okay, done.
Thank you so much, Amber.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was fun.
Compas on the beat from Radio Row. There's no Gilbert Manzano, but there is a Beto Duran from CBS. You know what? Beto just does it all. Golfing, everything. He's the man. So I got to hit him with this because he's earned it, so I'm going to give it to him. What's up, bro?
Oh, man. I'm so happy I got the what's up, bro. And, unlike Gilbert, I like when you say what's up, bro, because I told you this a long time ago, Fernando, if that's your real name. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. And I've always enjoyed your energy. Why you didn't talk to anybody because you thought you were too good back in the day when the Chargers first moved and you're like, oh, I don't want to say nothing to anybody. When I tell you, closed mouths don't get fed, fool. Closed mouths don't get fed. But no, what's up, bro? I like the what's up, bro.
No, I mean, I was happy
to see you. And for full disclosure, I'm gonna just take over the podcast right now. He ain't gonna talk. They're like, you want to wait for Gilbert? Okay. Nope, we're not gonna wait for Gilbert. No, but I'm happy to see Compas on the beat on Radio Row at the Super Bowl in LA. And I told you this when you guys started your podcast a year and a half ago. You're not Charger reporters. You're not NFL reporters. You guys are a brand. You guys are special. You can build on something. And Compas on the beat doing it, man. And I'm like that proud, salty Theo that just drinks a lot of Budweiser, red cans, of course. Like, just gonna start yelling, I know those fools, I told them. That's gonna be me right there. I'm really happy for you guys.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, no, definitely being here is awesome. It's different just because, I mean, you see the atmosphere, you see the different celebrities that are here, the different media people that are here. It's honestly awesome, but I wasn't stuck up. It's just that I was nervous introducing myself to people. I didn't know how,
okay, all these years later, why are you still defending yourself to me?
no,
I'm
well,
messing
just
with
saying,
you.
like,
I'm messing with you.
No, I know. But I had heard LA media is tough.
No,
Be
we're not.
careful
We're a
up
bunch
there.
of sorry
But
soft fools.
now that I've met people, I'm like, oh, what was I like nervous about? Like, everybody's super chill, they're relaxed, they're laid back. So I've made some really good friends.
No,
up here.
no. So LA media is soft. Everybody thinks they're very important. They're not. But I get it because I was you once, the young guy showing up, and you're like, oh, I don't want to say too much. Then after a couple weeks after that, I realized, I forget these people. They ain't nobody. Like, we're doing the same damn job. Why I gotta be scared of them? So that's why I introduced myself to everybody, and that's why I told you years ago. But you were just a quiet kid showing up, and it was a weird transition time because the Chargers had just moved to LA. So you only talked to the San Diego people, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what his job is. And I was doing pre and post at the time for the Raiders, Chargers radio. And it was like, okay, what are we doing here? Who is this guy? And I'm like, all right, you know what? I know who he is. Let me keep an eye on him from a distance. And I'm like, if he's legit, I'll take care of him. I'll mess with him. And if he's not, then I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Wish you the best. If I ever tell you wish you the best, oh, bro, that's a vaya con Dios, which that we don't mean.
That's you effed up, bro.
No. It's not you effed up. It's just more.
No, I know.
It's more like, there aren't many Latinos in the media, in the English side. And I told you the other day how in the NFL side, it's you, Gilbert, Paul Gutierrez from ESPN, who covers the Raiders, and as far as beat writers, and I couldn't think of anybody else. And it was like crazy, and it's sad. But you guys keep doing what you're doing, and keep knocking doors down, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, bro. I'm just here chilling, getting in the sights of Radio Row. But you're saying that, and that is important. I mean, growing up, I didn't know if I could do this. I didn't know if I could become a beat writer and do all the stuff that I'm doing now. But now to be able to do some of this stuff is awesome. Just because, growing up, like I said, I didn't have all that many people that I could look up.
You're reading Jay Posner. Is that his name, Posner?
Yeah.
You're reading him, and.
Well, actually, Jim Trotter too.
He was in San Diego.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was from San Diego.
Yeah,
As Sports Illustrated, Jim Trotter.
He was so close with
Really?
Junior Seau. Yeah.
Oh, I knew Potter. Trotter was a Sports Illustrated guy. That's how I knew him.
Yeah.
Awesome
Yeah,
writer.
but he's a San Diego guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he was awesome in his role.
You know how inspiring you are? And I'm being dead serious here. I know when I've come on the podcast before and I've like harassed you guys and stuff, but I said, watch you guys from a distance, give you guys, do the little brothers, and a big fan of yours. You're inspiring, Fernando, because to see the Latino last name at Sports Illustrated, dude, like, I don't think you understand how important it is. I know your family doesn't, because they're just like, that's the kid we go to Costco with. You and like, we go to Tijuana for the dentist, right? Like, that's what we do. Like, they don't understand the significance of what you've done and what you've accomplished and where you're going. And I take a lot of pride in seeing Ramirez in a Sports Illustrated byline, like just walking up right here, and there's a piece of paper that says Compas on the beat here at Super Bowl. You're knocking down doors, you're knocking down barriers, and some that I helped knock down and some that Paul knocked down. And it's just we always wanted to be included, and it was always, we don't want to be known for being the Mexican reporter. It's like, dude, I'm just a badass reporter. How about you give me credit for that? I'm a hell of a writer. I'm a video editor, because when I met you, you were walking around with a little camera and everything. You were doing a bunch of other stuff. You're a multi-platform with everybody else. And to see where you're at and where you're growing, that there's like little kids in elementary right now who are like, hey, I want to be like him, because if you don't see it, you don't know it exists, and you don't know it's possible, and you're leading by example. That's fantastic. So keep doing what you're doing.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, and that's the thing that you have to do. You have to knock down these doors. You have to be able to help that next generation out, kind of like you have.
Only if they're good kids. Because there's a bunch of little creídos que buenos para nada that you're like, nah, calm down. You have a TikTok. I'm not going to help you.
Well,
I'm salty feel.
Some people
don't get in trouble. Let me be the one get in trouble.
All
You don't.
All right.
You're what's up, bro. No, but at the same token, like, just because you're Latino, we're not going to help you if you're lazy. Like, we're not going to help you. Oh, we might reach out to you a little bit, but it's got to be reciprocated. And we want to help each other out. It's fantastic. And I didn't mean to come on the soapbox here, but just seeing you and Gilbert here, it gives me a lot of pride. And be like, damn, There's not many of you, but you guys are at the freaking Super Bowl, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, and it's awesome. And it's like you said, you look around, there's not a lot like us. So yeah, I think it's just the people at this table and the guy upstairs writing who was on deadline.
Yeah.
But definitely it's
on the English side.
No. There's a lot of pride in it, and you are right. Sometimes I feel like Gilbert and I need to take a step back and really analyze and be like, oh wow, like we really are.
It's hard. It's hard for you guys, and I know this isn't the Super Bowl content you guys wanted, but it's hard for you guys because you guys are so young. Because you guys are still trying to fight to get that job, to maintain the job. Me as a guy in my 40s, where I don't care if I get fired because I've been fired plenty of times and I've been replaced plenty of times. If they get rid of me, cool. I'll just go play golf tomorrow. I don't care. It's like, let me be the one rebel rousing and really beating down that drum of like, hey, we need more Gilbert. We need more Fernando. Let me be the one that gets in trouble. You don't. You just keep on plugging away and keep writing and keep on creating content because people don't understand how hard it is to do what you do and the grind that you go through. And the fact that you guys are doing podcasts on the road, the fact that you're doing a podcast in a car, and everybody wants to glory, and they don't realize that, dude, you're broke, man. There's some days I know you're like, fuck, do I have enough money for gas to get there? And you don't have to say this, but we've all been there, done that. We're like, damn, I just borrowed $15 so I can put it into my bank account. That way I can take out $20. That way I have $4 left in my account where I don't have the overdraft fees, just so I can put gas to go work a high school game where I'm working for free, but in hopes of that's eventually going to pay off. And it does, man. And that's the grind that everybody goes through. And everybody's like, oh, you're so good. It's like, yeah, I've been an overnight sensation for 20 years, right? It takes a long time to get after it.
No, and
I'm on right now.
No, well, I mean, and that's really what some people don't see. Like, they're like, oh, congratulations. And you really have jumped there. But it's like, no, I grinded all these years. I've been rejected numerous times. I probably sent out in probably the last 3 or 4 years, I probably sent out over 2,000. I've filled out 2,000 applications and I probably heard yes once.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Where were you trying to apply?
Different places, just beat writer jobs. I mean, Atlanta Falcons, covering the Dolphins, covering different teams. And sometimes I don't hear anything back. Sometimes I hear, oh, thank you for this, but we're going to go elsewhere, stuff like that. And I mean, it motivates me more than anything. I mean, It doesn't put me down because I know that I'm qualified. I know I've busted my behind all these years, and I know this stuff is going to pay off later. And I mean, it really has. I mean, like you said, we're right here. We're at Radio Row. We're at the Super Bowl. We're doing Compas on the beat. And it's just, it's a dream come true, but in the sense of the dream doesn't stop here. Like, this isn't the end. I want to continue doing this crap. I want to continue moving up, and I want to continue doing my thing. And honestly, I hope that we can continue doing this and continue growing. But this is all about growing and continuing it and really trying to knock down those doors for the next people behind us.
Yeah, and it's when people are like, oh, how long did it take you to get that job? You know how many TV jobs I got rejected for? All of them, just like you. Even though I work in TV now. Early on in my 20s, it was like nobody would give me a shot. And I realized because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared.
With the great Jim Hill on CBS.
CBS 2, Saturday and Sunday, Sports Central. I'm there and I love it. It's fantastic. But as far as back to you, like, you're getting rejected. You know how many people would say, oh, they're just a bunch of haters. They don't do this and that. Like, you can't have that attitude. It's not personal. It's business. And it's always, you didn't come this far just to come this far. And all you need is that one person to say yes. So you got rejected. Oh, well, eventually somebody's going to say yes. And you keep on plugging away. And a lot of people, when I talk to college kids, I always tell them, you're going to get rejected so much in your 20s. And if you think it's personal, just quit now. It's not personal. It's just you don't fit that role at that time. And a lot of people, oh, I'm better than them. Yeah, they are. But maybe they had a better suit in their interview. Like, it's the stupidest things, but it happens. And it's a very subjective business. And one person might love the way you write. Somebody else doesn't. Just at the end of the day, be true to yourself. Just true to yourself. And that's why I love you and your attitude and your personality. The what's up, bro, and all that other stuff. Because there are so many salty, bitter people, and you'll see them at Radio Row this week, where they pretend to care about this. And like, no, you don't. You guys, like, I want to be famous when I'm on TV. No, fool. The people who are famous are the athletes who are watching. They're the ones that where people are like, oh my God, when I used to cover Laker games, oh, you're the Laker. I'm like, no. That's Shaq and Kobe. Like, you're going to see them. Like, you don't care about me. So it's fun. You don't let the business swallow you up. You have a life. You maintain the distance. Damn, I am preaching today, bro. don't let it become your identity. And that's what you can do that's best for you. And that's why I check in on you guys all the time. And there's some kids that I reached out to. I'm like, hey, man, do this, do this, and that. And they're like, yeah, I got it. I'm like, all right, cool. Pues, tú dale, mijo. Go ahead. And then a couple years later, it's like, oh, what are you doing now? Oh, I'm a substitute teacher. Nothing against that. But it's, oh, this boss didn't like me here. This boss didn't like me there. Oh, I didn't get this shot. No, it's fool because you didn't work your ass off. Like, instead of being the guy who's editing at midnight, you were the one who was at the bar instead of doing the extra work. And it's like, what do you want to do? Nothing against the bar.
No. And this is the thing too, is that we can all make excuses all we want. We have a back pocket full of excuses. We can find excuses.
But you know
anywhere.
what? No, we can't.
Well, yeah.
We can't.
No.
The Mexicans can't.
No.
In this business, a Mexican cannot make an excuse because they don't care. They don't. We got deep today. Oh yeah.
What's up, man?
Over the WWE. You good?
Hey, I'm hyped.
All right.
There's gonna be some wrestlers here this week. I'm so hyped. I'm gonna see who we can get on the show. But let me ask you before we head out and everything, who you got this Sunday?
Sunday, I got Ice Cube. And
you think he's gonna show up?
Yeah. He was at NASCAR.
Hey, that was a cool performance, by the way.
You're gonna think that Ice Cube, a big Raider fan, big football fan, is just gonna let this happen in his backyard? There's got to be something, right? Who's performing on the halftime show?
Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige. So it should be him. That's why I've been saying all day, like, I hope we get Ice Cube that comes out, and honestly, this is something where he needs to come out.
There you go. There's always some kind of surprise, right? But who do I got this weekend? The scalpers, the brokers. They're the ones cleaning up, bro. My goodness, the fees. And like now, you can't slang a ticket. You have to have the actual app. You got to use it. You got to download. So the high-tech brokers are making a killing on all this stuff. That's what it is. That's where the money's at. So that's who won. But you want a game prediction?
Yeah.
I think Stafford stays conservative. I think Stafford doesn't do anything crazy. I think McVay realized that the beat down from the Patriots a couple of years ago and is like, hey, you're a boy wonder, but damn, mira, mijo, también. Here's how you can do it. And I think Burrow in his first Super Bowl, he won't get overwhelmed, but I think McVay learned the lesson a couple of years ago in Atlanta and make sure that his team doesn't do anything crazy. Don't go hero ball with Matthew Stafford. Don't let him be, I want to be a hero. Stafford, just find a couple hundred yards for Stafford. I think the Rams win this one.
I can be your hero, baby. Oh, wait, that wasn't.
I don't know what that means.
Enrique Iglesias? No?
That's Enrique Iglesias?
Yeah,
bro. That's supposed to be Enrique Iglesias?
Bro, it's the closest I could get to.
You're like, what, 25, 26? What are you doing quoting Enrique Iglesias?
Bro, he has good stuff.
Since when?
I mean, years past.
What years?
I don't know.
You're in elementary. 2000s. We're in 22?
Yeah, but they wouldn't play all those crazy songs that, like, those rap songs at school, so we'd have to listen to that kind of stuff.
You are becoming the old man now, playing songs that nobody has any idea what you're talking about. That's what you've done.
No, but I listen to other songs too.
Oh, Gilbert's lucky he's not here, because Gilbert probably, it's a good song. You'd be, I like that. You don't have anything from this year and anything current, nothing, huh?
I mean, do you want me to do the gritty?
See, there you go. I don't want you to do it, but you have something current. What you want to do as you're getting older, you don't want to be the old man who references songs the kids don't know. That's the key to staying young. You don't want to.
That's why I threw it out with you.
But you don't do it to old people too, because now your listeners are like, "Who's Enrique?" Because there's listeners, right? There's kids listening. You don't want these kids Enrique like it because you have an image. You have that boyful look. You don't drink, so you're gonna have great skin the rest of your life. You're gonna be all right. You're not gonna have hangovers. You're gonna have baggy eyes, so you're good. Don't. Enrique's like what, 2010?
Yeah, probably.
I saw him with Pitbull once. Yeah. See, did I bring that up? No.
Well, you brought it up now.
Yeah, and then when Enrique came on, I was like, bye. Oh, if you want a concert, go Mark Anthony, bro.
All right, well, there you go. Beto Duran.
Let me plug what I got. Okay, so I'll be at the no. that's what's gonna happen for Radio
Row. Podcast.
Nah, whatever. CBS 2 on Sundays. Jim Hill, Sports Central. Instagram, Beto Vision, where I've been harassing these guys. Twitter, Duran Sports. I'm professional. No TikTok because I'm in my 40s. And Besides that, just keep on doing the compas, man. I'm proud of you. Do you guys have any merch?
Not right now,
You
but
guys have
we
any
will.
stickers?
We will have some.
You have shirts?
Actually, we have not. We tried the shirt thing, but we're in the process of doing more with the merch.
Look, let me tell you about. I've never met Dan and Diego, and I don't want to. But you get that fool to get his pinche hat off, his sombrero, go to Theoharis and get some fucking stickers, bro. How hard is it for Dan and Diego to smuggle some stickers?
You know what I was gonna do? A Dan and Dago shirt that said Hilberto. You know how he says his name all along? I think people would like something like that.
Stickers. That's all you need. Because here you're at
My
radio.
face,
No,
that says, what's up, bro?
what's up, bro? A Hilberto, a Gilbert, like pretending to do something. Like those kind of stickers is what you need because it's Radio Roll. You just start handing them out. Come on, plug. I can't give you all my secrets.
I know.
If you want stickers, go to Beto Vision. I'll send you some stickers.
There you go. We got it. All right, Beto. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Gilbert, would you call that a grand slam for day one? 4 great guests for a grand slam?
Yeah, that's actually, I like it. For a Monday, when things are still kind of picking up, I thought we had a good turnout here with guests here. Beto won't leave us alone; he's still hanging around. So we got here at 10 in the morning. It's about to be 6 p.m. So I think overall, a very productive day.
It's crazy when you come in and the sun is shining bright. You leave and the damn moon is out. That's how it's gonna be. Gilbert, I'm so excited about the rest of the week. I mean, honestly, I know we have to pace ourselves, but I'm excited for day 2.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me. I keep saying this, or I might have already said it before. It feels like a big fight week in Las Vegas. Like this is actually my first time covering a Super Bowl. Like early in the week, I went to the Super Bowl in Atlanta when the Rams played the Patriots for that terrible 6-3 game or whatever, and I was just there for the game, but I wasn't there for the lead up here. So it kind of feels like a big fight week. You're waiting for the fighters to arrive. There, the Bengals, like I mentioned, arrive on Tuesday, and things are picking up from there. But overall, it's going to be a really exciting game. That's why I really like the interview with Amber, because I really got into kind of the football talk. I'm like, oh, what about this person? Or what about Cooper Kupp too? Like, man, there's so many stars in this game. Odell Beckham, Von Miller, and the list goes on the Bengals too. Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon. So, people are kind of counting out the Bengals, and I feel like I've learned my lesson. But it's going to be a close game and come down to the wire, I feel like.
What's funny, Gilbert, is that for you and I, before we go into interviews, we say 10, 15 minutes, but then you get into it and it just feels like 20 goes by and you're like, wow, but Amber gave us so much great stuff. So the way I've counted it today, Gilbert, is Chef K and Beto Duran went Rams, and Amber and Jonathan Coachman went Bengals. So 2-2. And guys, we will not be giving you our predictions until Friday. But so right now it is 2-2, Gilbert.
Okay. And I went 2 of 4 in these guest lineups. I was part of 2 and I missed 2. So I guess 2-2 actually, you think about it that way. So I can't be around for every interview, Fernando, because I'm busy. But I'm glad I was there for 2 of them of the 4. So I like the numbers there.
Hey, no, don't worry about it. I mean, that's how we're going to do. We're going to keep on doing this, churning out these interviews, but definitely a lot of fun. But Gilbert, you know what? Beto's signaling to us. I think it's time to drink,
he's
out,
still
and
here.
Relax.
He won't leave us this table alone. He saw Mexicans and he came over to mingle. So you know how we are. We always like to party.
Yeah, no, and I know he wants to go out and have a beer. So Gilbert, ¿sabes qué? Vámonos.
Ya nos vamos? Pues, vámonos.